Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now Bitcoin is running into this critical area of support as the price is approaching oversold territories, while the price is also flashing a new signal in the short term, while Ethereum is flashing the same short-term signal. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and over the last 1 day, nothing has really changed on this chart right here. So if you're new to the channel and you want to know more about this chart, then check out my last video here on the channel. And the same can be said about this daily Bitcoin chart right here, because over the last 1 day, the DXY has been closed for trading. So we don't really have any new information on this chart right here over the last 1 day. So once again, if you're new to the channel and you want to know more about this chart right here, then check out my last video here on the channel. And so with that being said, taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart, and what we are right now seeing in the price of Bitcoin is the price running into this critical area of support based on previous support, and also based on a decent amount of traded volume sitting just above this area. So basically this area of support is sitting in between around 60,000 to 61,000 approximately. And basically this volume profile indicator kind of acts as support and resistance based on the traded volume right here, but the gaps in the traded volume, those are usually the areas on the price chart where the price moves very quickly. So if we, for example, break below around 60,000 with daily candle closes to the downside below 60k, then in that case we could potentially see a quick drop down to the next area of support, which is sitting in between around 56 to 57,000. And so just keep that in mind. That is a potential scenario here that we need to be aware of, especially if we confirm a break below $60,000. That would be the signal to confirm that bearish scenario. But at least for now, 60 to 61,000 is still the support to pay attention to just in the short term. And we do also have a major area of support down here at around 51 to 53,000. But with that being said, 56k is a critical level to pay attention to. And once again, we still have short-term support at 60,000 to 61,000. And as for short-term resistance, in case we see any sort of bounce here in the short term, I would be expecting resistance in between around 63 to 64,000 approximately based on previous support and resistance. And we also have strong resistance in between around 67 to 68.3k. And as I mentioned recently here on the channel, the short-term trend and momentum in the price of Bitcoin right now is clearly bearish. We simply have a lot of bearish momentum, at least in the short term as of right now. But as I also say here on the channel, nothing moves in a straight line. So even though we have bearish momentum at the moment and the trend is looking more bearish, of course, we can see some bounces here and there during a bearish trend, just like back here, for example, or this one green candle right here during this short-term pullback. And so just keep that in mind. If we see a slight bounce in the short term or one daily candle close in the green, that does not necessarily mean this short-term bearish trend is over, because a bearish trend can contain some bullish price action during the bearish trend, just like how during a bullish trend, we can see some small pullbacks here and there during a bullish trend. And believe it or not, you can actually still make money in crypto even when the price is bearish by using short positions, for example. And if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I take just about all of my trades over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, where you could potentially win up to $100,000 or free Bitcoin or Ethereum or USDT or trip to an F1 race just by trading crypto using the link down below this video. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link link to Bitflix down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And with that being said, taking a look at the 12-hour time frame, and right now the 12-hour Bitcoin RSI is extremely close to oversold territories for the first time since pretty much early July, close to a month ago. And if we're looking at the price of Bitcoin back then, obviously that occurred after we saw a short-term dump in the price of Bitcoin. And what came next was actually a slight relief in the short term to help to reset the RSI back to the upside. But once again, it's important to understand that back then, we did actually enter into oversold territories here on the 12-hour time frame, whereas right now we're getting very close to oversold territories, but we're not there just yet. And so that basically means we technically still have a little bit more room to the downside here in the short term. We could still go a little bit lower before seeing the next bounce in the short term. But this is basically telling us that we're getting closer to that bounce or just a break from this bearish price action here in the short term. Once again, we're getting closer to that, but we're not there just yet. We're not in oversold territories just yet, but we're getting very close. And it's also important to understand that an oversold signal in the RSI by itself is not enough to confirm a bottom for this pullback or this bearish trend here in the short term. It's not enough to confirm a bottom. Once again, it could just result in a slight break from the bearish price action before seeing a continuation of the bearish price action later on. Because essentially, if the RSI enters into oversold territories, that tells us we're due to see some sort of reset in the RSI, which can be neutral price action or slight bullish price action, which resets the RSI back to the upside, actually giving us more room to the downside later on. And so once again, as of right now, we're getting closer to that potentially playing out. And if we're taking a look at the 6-hour time frame, right now the price of Bitcoin is also getting very close to this important golden pocket area of support, sitting in between around 58.8k to around 59.3k. And so just in the short term, that is a critical area of support to pay attention to. And if we see a break below around 58.8k, then in that case, the next Fibonacci level of support to the downside is sitting at around 56.6k to 56.7k approximately. And as for short-term resistance, we could find a bit of short-term resistance at around 61.2k, which was previous support right here and should be acting as new resistance. And above 61.2k, we also have more resistance at around 63.2k based on previous support now acting as new resistance. And if we're zooming into the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we can see a new bullish divergence flashing on this chart right here, with lower lows in the price in the candle closes and higher lows in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI. And technically speaking, we have one confirmation signal, just one green candle close here in the 4-hour time frame, confirming this bullish divergence. But with that being said, it's only one small confirmation signal, which basically means it could easily be invalidated. And so in order to be more confident in this bullish divergence here, we ideally need to see a little bit more confirmation by seeing at least a couple more green candle closes here in the price action to actually cement the higher low in place by seeing a decent bounce here in the RSI. And if we end up seeing a little bit more confirmation here, actually cementing that higher low in place in the RSI, then in that case, once again, we could likely see a slight relief in the short term from all of this bearish price action. But a bullish divergence by itself is not necessarily enough to confirm a massive bullish trend reversal. And so once again, as I've been saying recently here on the channel, I'm still overall bearish on the price of Bitcoin for the short-term trend and momentum. So basically the trend and momentum here on the daily time frame is currently bearish. But it's just important to understand that it will not move in a straight line. We can see some bounces here and there, especially as these signals form here in the short term and actually confirm. Once again, we could see a slight relief during the bearish trend. That's a possibility if we see a bit more confirmation here. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously over the last one day, we took out a little bit more liquidity to the downside, which was sitting at roughly around $60,000. And as for other liquidation levels to pay attention to on this chart right here, we do have some more liquidity sitting just above 59,000, basically in between around 59,000 to 59,500. And so just in the short term, that could be a potential price target to pay attention to. And below 59k, 50k, we also have more liquidity at roughly around 56,000 to 56,500. And so those are the short-term levels of liquidity to pay attention to on this chart right here. And we still have a major level of liquidity at just above $70,000, but obviously that's still a long way away from where we are right now. And we have important resistance between the current price and that liquidation level. And once again, we cannot forget about the fact that the momentum, at least in the short term right now, is simply bearish. And so we cannot necessarily expect the price of Bitcoin to go straight towards $70,000 just based on this one chart right here by itself, because there's multiple other charts and indicators and things like that pointing in the bearish direction just in the short term as of right now. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH is forming a new bullish divergence, but it is important to understand that this potential bullish divergence forming right now is not yet confirmed. I want to make that clear. And so this is just a potential signal that is flashing on the chart right now, but is not confirmed, because as of right now, we have already confirmed the lower lows in the price in the candle closes on the daily time frame, but we have not yet confirmed the higher low in place in the RSI. Because the RSI by default is based off the candle closes, so we need to see at least a couple green candle closes confirm here in the price action on the daily time frame in order to actually confirm some sort of higher low in place in the RSI. Because otherwise, if we just continue confirming red candle closes here on the daily time frame for the price of ETH, then in that case, that could drag the RSI further to the downside below this previous low. And in that situation, there would be no bullish divergence at all. And so once again, we still need to see some more confirmation here to actually confirm this potential bullish divergence that's forming right now. And at the same time as the price and the RSI diverging here in the bullish direction, we also have the price running into this critical area of support sitting in between around 2.8k to 2950. And we can see all the way back in April this year and also May, and also around a month ago, we've seen multiple major bounces in this exact price range previously. So this is definitely a critical area of support to pay attention to. And if we actually start seeing a strong confirmed break to the downside, so basically daily candle closes confirming well below 2.8k, then in that situation, we may not actually confirm the bullish divergence at all, because in that situation, if we just continue breaking down here, the RSI could form a new lower low once again, meaning no bullish divergence. But at least as of right now, we have not confirmed any daily candle closes below 2.8k. So as of right now, we're just waiting to see more confirmation, either confirming the bullish divergence or confirming a break below 2.8k. But at least for now, we have a bullish divergence that's forming and the price is running into key support. And so these are two separate factors on the chart right here that could potentially slow the bearish price action here in the short term, potentially in the next few days or so, especially if we confirm the bullish divergence. But we'd have to see a lot more here in order to expect a massive bullish trend in the price of ETH, because as of right now, the price is still basically in this massive choppy sideways price range in between this support and this resistance, with these other areas of support and resistance in between. And basically this area should now be acting as new resistance in between around 3150 to 3250, and we have more resistance in between around 3550 to 3650, and more resistance in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. And with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, and obviously over the last few days, we've seen major breaks to the downside below key areas of support. First of all, a few days ago, we already broke below this area in between 170 to 175. And just over the last 1 or 2 days, we broke below this area in between around 158 to 161. And so that was also another bearish confirmation signal here in the short term, pointing towards the bearish direction when we're talking about the trend and momentum in the short term. And obviously, I did mention multiple times here on the channel, all the way back up here at around $180 per Solana, I said if we break below 170 with confirmation, so candle closes below 170, I said that is the point where we should start flipping a lot more bearish. And obviously, since we broke below 170, we've seen a lot more bearish price action. And so as of right now, I am still bearish on the price of Solana in terms of the short-term trend and momentum right now on the daily time frame ever since 170. And obviously during a bearish trend, we can see some bounces here and there, especially from support. So just keep that in mind. Even if we see one green candle close here on the daily time frame, that does not necessarily mean the bearish trend is over. Because right now the price of Solana is running into this area of support in between around 140 to 144. So we could actually see a slight bounce of some sort from this area. So just keep that in mind. But once again, we could potentially see a slight bounce and then continue the bearish trend later on. That is a possibility. And if we start seeing candle closes back below 140, then in that case, the next important area of support to pay attention to is this critical area of support, equivalent to that area of support that I just mentioned earlier for Ethereum. And this support area for the price of Solana is sitting in between around 120 to 128. And also, if we're taking a look at the daily Solana RSI, this is getting closer towards oversold territories. It's not there just yet, so we still technically have some more room to the downside here in the short term, but it's getting closer towards oversold territories. And the last couple of times where we got very close to oversold territories, those occurred right around a local low in the price before we actually saw a bit more of a bounce back to the upside over the next couple of weeks or so. And so if we see, for example, a break to the downside and come back into this area of support, as we're running into this same area of support where we've previously seen many bounces from, in that situation, once again, the RSI would likely be pretty much oversold in that stage. And so in that situation, we could see a slight bounce here in the short term or a bit of a bullish relief, kind of similar to what we saw back here or back here, for example, especially if we run into this area of support in between 120 to 128. And if you want to trade these moves in the price of any crypto, once again, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.